It's 10:40. The leader of Reform UK, Richard Tice, has told us the station could be further defections after the move of former Conservative Party Deputy Chairman Lee Anderson. So who could be next, if anyone at all?
Well, joining us in the studio is a good friend of Lee and fellow Conservative MP in the Red Wall, Don Valley's Nick Fletcher. So, Nick, let's just cut to the chase. Are you going to Reform?
No.
Why not?
Definitely not.
Definitely not, no. My constituents voted for a Conservative candidate, and they will keep a Conservative candidate unless I lose the whip. But I don't think that's going to happen, and no, I will stay as a Conservative candidate until the next election, and I will continue then.
Lee Anderson's constituents voted for a Conservative candidate. He's now a Reform Party MP. Should he do the honourable thing and trigger a by-election, which he's voted for in the past?
Yeah, I think the problem is that we've got with that is that, well, one, the whip was taken off,
Which was a mistake.
Which made him an independent, and obviously then Reform have come along. And there could be an election any time. Who knows whether it could be May or whether it could be November. I don't think it helps anybody. It's a completely different situation that Lee's in. He's made that choice to go there, and I wish Lee all the best. He's a very good friend and a very good MP, and I'm sorry he has gone. I really am sorry he's gone, but I won't be following.
But his departure is symptomatic of the frustration felt by a lot of MPs that the government hasn't got to grips with illegal migration, let alone legal migration, and taxes haven't been cut. Tax burden is rising, despite what they did in the budget last week, and we know from people tweeting into this programme and texting into this programme that when people say, oh, it's going to lead to a big Labour majority if people vote for Reform, they say, well, that's because the Tory party's left us. That's why we're going to vote Reform.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an extremely difficult time. I always say I became an MP in December, and 3 months later we shut the country down. And I think people need to remember all the help that the Prime Minister, then Chancellor, did through COVID. So it's been an extremely difficult time. And I know people want the Prime Minister to go further with lots of the issues that we're dealing with, and I'm definitely one of those. I'm definitely on the right of our party. I want the illegal immigration to stop completely. I want illegal immigration down, and I want us to be as conservative as possible. And we've definitely had some moves in that direction. The Rwanda plan is going through. I know obviously there's an awful lot of people kicking back against that. I would have liked it probably even tougher than what it is, but it's definitely moving in the right direction. We've had 2 tax cuts, we've had 2 fiscal events, and we've dropped national insurance twice, 2% and 4%, which is going to make a huge difference to people in their pockets. So we are doing the right things. I'm a big believer in family, small state, big family, and with regards to the high income child benefit issue charges, I think we're moving in the right direction for that too. So we are moving where we need to go. Obviously there's a frustration that we need to be getting there more quickly, and I want to push and push and push because I believe that's the right direction for us to go in. But we have had a couple of years that have been absolutely horrendous, and I mean, we were pretty much on a war footing with 21, 22. I mean, it's been terrible, and we've got the war in Ukraine, and obviously now we've got Israel too, so it's been a really difficult time.
But you see, there were other countries that have been obviously through those same global events and haven't emerged as poorly off, especially in terms of our growth.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. I went over to France recently with the Education Select Committee and sat opposite their MPs, and what they were saying was pretty much a complete reflection of what we're going through. They're struggling with immigration, massively struggling with immigration. They're struggling with cost of living issues as well. And I mean, they've had some members of Parliament who've not done what they should have done, just let's say that. So it was just, we were sat with my colleagues, and we could not believe what we was hearing. It was just a complete reflection of what we're going through.
It's funny that. Yeah.
I was going to say, in the Red War, if Boris came campaigning in Don Valley, that's all widely reported yesterday and today, would that be a big difference? Boris still popular in your patch?
I believe he is. Boris is a Marmite character, and I know obviously there'll be a certain amount of people that will be upset if they saw Boris on the street again. But Boris is a fantastic campaigner, and I'm sure he came to Doncaster before my election, and he came while I was a member of Parliament, and there's always people around him. I mean, they genuinely do really like him, and if he offered his help in Don Valley to support our current Prime Minister and support the Conservative Party, I for one would welcome him with open arms.
That's not a fan.
No.
Well it's, I said he's Marmite, isn't he?
Yeah.
So there you go.
I used to like him, but I think everything changed from 2019 onwards, and he had that thumping majority in 2019.
But we had to go through COVID. I think there was 1 month he became a dad, he lost his mum, he'd been in hospital, the biggest crisis that the world has ever seen. I mean, these things...
That's where we disagree, because this comes... I mean, you know, we're not going to go down a big COVID rabbit hole today, but I think... I still need to see from this government apologies for some of those decisions that were made based on flawed data. And I think, and I speak for a lot of people who feel like the lockdowns were an unnecessary, disproportionate event, particularly when it comes to children, and we're seeing it in the papers every day.
I agree.
And the illness and the excess deaths we've now got, the collateral damage from those decisions can't just be wiped off as just, it's a tough time.
I think the COVID inquiry really needs to get to the root of this rather than it just turning into a blame game. I come from a business background and we've got a procedure manual for everything that we do, and I think the COVID inquiry, what it should be doing is putting a manual together that if we get hit with any kind of pandemic like this, and I know all pandemics are different, but what should we do?
It's not doing that though, is it, Nick?
Well, no, but I mean, it becomes a bit of a witch hunt, and I think that's what we don't want it to be. And unfortunately, I mean, I know I'm sat in a studio here, but the media play a part in that too. Because,
I agree.
And I think we ought to be, we all need to take responsibility for each of our jobs. Myself as a member of Parliament above everything else, but your job too as journalists, we need responsible journalism, we need responsible MPs, we need people taking personal responsibility for themselves. And I think when we all do that and we all actually come together, then we can actually make a success of this fantastic country.
That's a very conservative statement there, Nick Fletcher. We need a bit more of that from your boss.
I'm happy to give it to you.
Right.
And you're not 30 seconds in on that Welsh Parliament thing.
I don't think we have got 30 seconds, unfortunately. But do you know what? Actually, we are going to be... There's a front page of Telegraph today about the COVID inquiry. There's a bunch of scientists who've written an open letter, and one of them, the author of this, is going to be with us in the next hour as well.
Obviously.
Yeah, I am. I should be. We all need to be. We all need answers. Right, up next, Cheltenham's woke rebranding, as it's called. We're not allowed to call it Ladies' Day. I think this is a good idea. Andrew Pearce is not convinced.
No, I'm not.
Right, don't go anywhere. You're with Britain's Newsroom on TV News.